Get ready for Real Talk Radio. You're listening to the National Intel Report with your host, John Stadtmiller.
You know, a lot of people don't know about the Iran's president, Ahmadinejad. He's being demonized in the U.S. media. Of course, we got to do that. The U.S. media's demonization of Ahmadinejad itself demonstrates American ignorance. The president of Iran is not the ruler. He's not the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He can't set policies outside the boundaries set by Iran's rulers. The Ayatollahs, who are not willing for the Iranian revolution to be overturned by the American money in some color-coded revolution. And, of course, they had that bitter experience. You might have heard something about it with the United States government. The first democratic election after emerging from occupied and colonized status in the 50s was overturned by the U.S. government. Uncle Sammy and the boys installed in place of the elected candidate a dictator who tortured and murdered dissidents and thought Iran should be an independent country and not ruled by the American puppet. Well, here we are, gearing up. And if you folks, I'm serious about this, and I scorn those that are in our media that are not talking about Israel and the role that it's playing in this. We're going right down the hit list in the Middle East for Israel. So if you don't want to accept that, maybe you might want to go over there to Israel, that is, and maybe carry a cross around, proclaim yourself to be a Christian, start passing out Bibles, see what happens to you. They hate America, they hate Christianity, and they don't like you, because you know what? They're superior. You're nothing but goyim. You're just trash. You're an idolater. You're less than human. Just ask the Palestinians about it. Guy in Arkansas. Hello, Guy.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Let it be known that on this day I bestow upon you three a new title, and that shall be the Truth Trio.
The Truth Trio.
Truth Trio.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
I am so sick and tired of hearing Amigo. It keeps me thinking of all these illegal aliens running around free in this country, and it's causing me mental harm. And I may have to take you all to the UN and have you put up on a tribunal, you know, for mental what is that one thing that they got in this hate bill, mental cruelty or something like that.
We don't need no stinking UN.
Anyway, to be on a serious side now, although I am serious about that retitlement on you three, Ron Paul, it's amazing how Ron Paul couldn't get anything moving on his side until right now. And John, you're so very keen to remind us of the synthesis, anti-synthesis, and solution.
The Hegelian dialectic.
Absolutely. Now, of course, my comment here today, all three of you can put your voice in when I'm done. But basically, what if we're being set up here, and whether Ron Paul knows it or not, okay, and all the other Congress critters know it or not. Let's just say that that we're really being set up on the physicist side because of the anti-physicist side because now what happens if this thing passes and all of a sudden the Fed says, well, you know what? I think we're gonna go non-existent. We're gonna dissolve ourselves, or maybe they'll go through a bankruptcy and change their whole thing and go into something else, and still leave us hanging, and or maybe transform themselves into the IMF or into another global corporation, as it were, to get out of this auditing system. And I was trying to think of a more eloquent way to present this to you, but that's about the best I can do. You think you got enough there to run at?
Gentlemen?
And I'll listen up here.
It's always possible, but I think in the case here of the possibility of the passage of 1207 and S 604, I think the situation is unique. It's only happened one other time in 96 years. And that was, we saw the same thing between 1932 and 1936. Louis T. McFadden, representative, both Republican and Democrat at one time or another, from Pennsylvania, head of the banking committee, went after the Fed hammer and tong. There were 2 assassination attempts on him, and finally they murdered him in 1936. So why did that happen then? Because the Fed had done the same thing. The same door was open. And McFadden came along, this time it's Ron Paul. And they brought the subject of what the Fed had done to the public. And there was a good chance of it getting passed. And it didn't because of his death. Now, you have to have the opportunity to do that. And we have the opportunity. It's only happened twice in, 80 years, approximately? And so I don't think it could have been planned this way, but I don't think so. This is very unique. And I think the Fed has a problem. The bankers have a problem. They did hire 2 weeks ago a high-powered lobbyist that used to be the lobbyist for Enron, which is Mrs. Robertson. And I think they're concerned. So I don't think it's a setup.
Robbie?
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. But, obviously, will this bill ever make it out of committee? That's obviously going to be the next test.
Well, it has to because of the number of co-sponsors.
Yeah,
that is automatic.
It's
the
already out.
Is when, and it'll probably be soon. But after that, you can lose co-sponsors, but you can gain them too.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Bob, what I said about this is...
Well, I don't have much faith in the Senate, put it that way.
Well, I don't either, Robbie, but you've got to understand something, that these are, a semblance of human beings. They got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and they wear Gucci suits. Having said that, a lot of these people in Washington, D.C. are scared out of their minds right now because they realize, and just take a look at what they've been doing. The fear factor now is on their side, not so much on ours. We've turned the table on them because they realize the American people have been waking up. And we're not making a whole lot of political headway because, quite frankly, we really don't give a damn about Washington, D.C., and they know that. So how to save face? How does a criminal that's caught save face? Well, he turns state's evidence, or he tries to be one of the good guys by yammering his full head off. I mean,
exactly. I mean, that's my point with this, with obviously the number of co-sponsors. Because for a politician who probably knows that this bill will go nowhere, he doesn't risk any political capital by becoming a co-sponsor.
Or he may be looking at this, well, maybe I've got to do something to save my soul from being imprisoned for the rest of my life for treason. Maybe I can
How about the constituents who have been screaming and yelling at him for 6 months?
Well, these are people that want their head on a stick, and they know this. So how, if you're John Q. whomever in the District of Criminals up there, what do you do once you find yourself painted in that corner? Now, you did it yourself. You backed yourself into that corner. Somebody might have held a gun to your head, but I'd much rather die, from the enemy than being strung up by my fellow countrymen. So if you think about this in human nature terms, what would you do if you were one of these politicians in D.C.?
It's significant. There's absolutely no question, and even if we get it passed, and we don't get anywhere, we've at least tried, because the alternative, is 30-shot clips, an assault weapon, and shooting at foreign troops. I mean, what do you want?
Well, I can tell you one Democratic senator that I know that won't be supporting that legislation, and that's Dick Durbin. Here's a guy that after meeting with Paulson and Bernanke on the 18th of September sold his $160,000 stock portfolio on September the 19th. Now you want to talk
Sounds
about...
like a smart investor.
Yeah.
Incidentally, talking about that, where's the Bob Chapman special?
The Bob Chapman special for today is Swiss francs.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And how many and how much and where do they call?
$225. These are the post-1935 Swiss francs. A fifth of an ounce, $225.